sports and use whatever locker room corresponds with their gender. But some members of the Randolph girls volleyball team say that they object to having one of their transgender teammates be in the room while they change. I spoke to one of the girls.
It's a huge thing. Everyone's asking, like, so why aren't you allowed in the locker room? Like,
high school student Blake Ellen and her teammates are currently barred from using the locker room after some of the girls on the team objected to allowing a transgender player in the girls' locker room.
My mom wants me to do this interview to try to make a change.
Ellen says the dispute started when the trans student made an inappropriate comment while members of the volleyball team were getting changed.
This just happened recently. I'm not gonna lie, I rolled my eyes just a little bit, but I can't say I'm surprised because you know it's likely that this supposed trans woman either said something either mocking a girl's appearance or made a sexual comment, and I mean, I feel like that's likely the thing that made these young women feel uncomfortable. But banning these young women from their protective space because one supposed trans person's feelings got hurt because they made these young women feel at risk is clown world.
If this is like a physical space, I'm always going to prioritize my own safety because oftentimes that discomfort somebody feels is actually just violence waiting to happen. And it's also not my job as the trans person to navigate the discomfort. I'm not the one who's uncomfortable with other women. They are. I'm just existing. And so my question is, if you're uncomfortable, why are you uncomfortable with other women?
No, it is your job to navigate the discomfort. You are a guest in this space. You are not female. Unfortunately, you do not pass as female. People remember, we are biologically made and socially conditioned to be able to tell the difference between males and females for a number of reasons, right? For safety, for procreation. Stop telling women to not believe their own eyes. And stop telling women that it's not okay to question anybody who doesn't seem to fit.
What pieces of internalized misogyny are failing you right now? What is in your way of acknowledging this person's or my humanity?
Okay, it's not about humanity though, that's the thing. It is about impeding on our spaces and feeling entitled to do so. Here's the difference. If you were walking outside, simply existing, like you say you were, and somebody, guy, girl, doesn't matter, came and was harassing you or threatening you, I would step in and be like, no, this is not okay. But when you are entering a space that you clearly don't belong, stop making it about you. Now in saying that, do I think that these two specific trans women are predators? I hope not, probably not. I just want them to keep at the very front of their minds that all of this trans women are women and trans rights to the extreme stuff is hurting women. Recently, Primark reintroduced women-only changing rooms because, not surprisingly, a male, who knows if it was a trans woman or not, probably not, entered a unisex changing room when two women were changing in it.
Yeah, I was trying on some clothes and it was a unisex changing room, which I'm really for, and I love that because, you know, it makes everyone feel included. But twice, two men opened the curtain, walked in on me. Luckily both times I was wearing fully clothed, but I could easily not have been.
And yes, to play devil's advocate here, this woman did choose the unisex changing room, but the point still stands. If males have the opportunity to be creepy, they will take it. This is why we have women-only spaces.
It was two different people, clearly from the same group, and there was probably like 100 changing rooms available. So it's not like, you know, it was like always someone in here or not. It was, you know, clearly. Yeah, the first time it was like as they walked in they did it, and then the second time was one of them said to the other one, oh, like, have you tried it on, like, can I see? And then yeah, he opened it, and both times like I was so shocked and I was like, oh sorry, like as if it was my fault.
Primark said it was important for everyone to have a positive experience in their stores. The company said combined fitting rooms will still stay in place in their stores alongside the female only changing rooms. This sounds great, and I think they are making a ton of progress. They said the combined fitting room is for everyone. The women only area is for all women, and customers are not required to provide identification. If someone appears to be deliberately trying to abuse the policy, then the store manager will manage at their discretion. I think this does make sense as far as if somebody is actually trans and doing their best to pass, let them use the female spaces, right? And if not, then don't let them use the women's spaces. I think this is the best option in trying to create a safe space for trans people and for females. Apparently this was a staged protest at the, I want to get this right, the University of Mexico's women's bathroom. And again, the entitlement is disgusting. This happened back in August. I just happened to see it now. It came across my dashboard on Twitter. What makes this even more entitled and absolutely disgusts me is the fact that these people are singing and dancing in this space that clearly doesn't belong to them, as if they're staking a claim to it. But not only are they asking access to this space, but asking to have access to women's bodies. And of course, lesbians and gender-critical women were the brunt of this, as per usual. On August 24th, feminist students at the National Autonomous University of Mexico were confronted by trans activists as they painted a lesbian pride symbol on the wall next to the library. They were called TERFs, colonial fascists, as if you're colonizing my vagina, like what? And transphobes. Shortly after, as a result of the lesbian symbol that had been painted on, the trans students reported that they did not feel safe. They went to administrators, demanded a gender-neutral washroom be established in that area. Okay, like fine, have a gender-neutral washroom. That's great. While administrators agreed to create one, the students did not wait for it to be designated. Entitlement, as per usual. This is clearly some of the graffiti that was written on the walls. Also, what does being pro-sex work have to do with being trans? Like, I know that there are a lot of trans people that get into sex work, but they actually have nothing to do with each other. Also, I must make this point, it's about that time. Claiming to be a woman while simultaneously being anti-feminist, like being against women's rights, is a really weird route to take for trans people. I'm just saying, it's not convincing anyone of your actual womanhood. This is the part that really upset me. Listen to this. Sexual assaults at the University of Mexico are so common that the university recently had to install emergency buttons inside of the cubicles of women's washrooms. Why does it always have to be women's restrooms or women's safe spaces or women's changing rooms that have to be changed to be gender neutral? Why not the men's room? Is it because the poor little queer activists wouldn't feel safe entering a previously male space? Now you know why we have women's spaces, you ignorant because they don't feel comfortable in male spaces either, or taking away male spaces from males. There's no shock at all that the university did side with the queer trans activists, and this of course only targets and fuels more harassment towards these gender-critical women and lesbians specifically. One of these gender-critical women spoke up saying, "Under the passive gaze of those who should be protecting our freedom, our bodies are attacked and our words are attacked. If the authorities are afraid, feminists will not be." For those of you who don't know, and I was one of those people, sex-based violence against women in Mexico is one of the highest places in the world. It also amounts to an extreme number of sex trafficking, which most victims are women and children, which is why Trump wanted to build the wall. Just another reason. This is a very real thing that happens. And 85% of victims are female, of course. Why is it always women that are at the end of these issues? Sports, changing rooms, prisons, and yeah, our bodies. Our bodies are also spaces that you most likely don't belong in.
Would you explain to me why there are so many lesbians that are okay taking a strap? Basically, a plastic penis. But as soon as you have an organic one, they're like, I can't do that. I have genital preference. And they're like, no, it's just general preference. I'm like, no, it's because you literally see me as a man. It's because you see me as a man and you're transphobic. Why? That doesn't make any sense to me. If you can take the thing that's not real, why can't you take the thing that's real? I mean, I'm not gonna force anybody to do that. That's weird.
I thought I got this message out back in 2018 when I first commented on this crazy idea that penises and strap-ons are the same thing, which used to actually come from straight people. Now it's coming from trans people that identify as lesbians, which is hilarious because it's the same shit, same homophobic bullshit coming from either side of things. A strap-on is not the same as a real penis. In fact, a strap-on, if you think about it differently, is actually the shape of the inside of a vagina. It is a toy. And how dare you say that lesbians are transphobic for not wanting real dick? We're lesbians. And you guys know I can't stand the term genital preference. Genital preference, I've made a video about this before as well, is not a real thing. Unless you're bisexual or pansexual, in which case you like all types of genitalia, then I can see, okay, I prefer this over this. Genital preferences is not a thing. But in saying all of that, this is still not the weirdest thing that I've seen or the most disgusting thing coming out of the trans community over the last week. This is, we now have butt babies, literally. And no, I'm not talking about the cute way that gay guys refer to having sex. Oh, well, let's have butt babies, or we're gonna have butt babies, whatever. No, I'm talking about literal trans people shoving prosthetic babies up their to make them feel like they're giving birth. I will say I'm not a fan of the fact that this is on a website along with sex toys, bondage gear. It just makes it feel like being trans is a fetish, which in this case, I feel like this probably is. Chloe, who I've had on this channel before, who's a detransitioner, made an amazing comment on Twitter I have to read. She said, "It's just a clump of cells has turned into I need to shove a silicone baby up my if that ain't the truth." The only way that this is similar to childbirth is the fact that they might wind up in the hospital with a tear and bleeding or internal bleeding for simply doing this. Lots of tears happening here. I have no more words for where the queer movement, trans movement, new age feminist movement has gotten us. I am both disgusted, shocked, but also not shocked. There's just a lot of feelings in me right now. It's a lot, guys, it's a lot. I'm just saying. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, be sure to go and follow me on my locals page, ariel.locals.com. I post a ton of content that you've never seen here before. And I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, of course, make sure you do that, because we are the only non-leftist lesbian channel, I believe. We're one of the only sane lesbians left on this planet. Maybe just on YouTube, hopefully. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye.